Hey there guys, what is going on? Earlier this week we did end up taking a look at the best class setup for every single SMG in Cold War Season 5 Reloaded. And with a new assault rifle on the way in Season 6 in the Grav, we wanted to take a look at the best class setup for every single assault rifle in Cold War Season 5 Reloaded. Now, just before we do get into it here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on, just so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming Season 6 content, which, as I said, is right around the corner. We're going to have the best class setups for the new weapons, we're going to have different map guides for the new maps, and loads of other stuff, so make sure you don't miss out on any of that. So let's take a look at the best class setup for every single assault rifle in Cold War Season 5 Reloaded. So starting us off here at the top of the list, we do have sort of a recently buffed weapon in this game, which is the XM4. I believe this received some pretty major changes in the Season 5 patch, I think it was. Basically, we did get some new attachment choices, some recent attachments did get buffed, which is all very, very cool. If we were looking for the attachments on the XM4 class setup, again, they are a little bit different to how we have run this previously. Starting off here, we do have that infantry compensator. Basically, this does give us 15% increase to our vertical recoil control. Makes it very, very easy for us to hit shots with this particular weapon. This is one of the attachments that did get buffed as well. In the barrel slot, we do run the Ranger barrel to give us the most amount of bullet velocity here, meaning we are very, very effective at hit detection. This does take our bullet velocity stat to 1314 meters per second, which is actually a really, really nice stat in this game. In the underbarrel slot, we are just going for a standard foregrip here for 15% increase to our horizontal recoil control, basically just to help keep us on target here. Again, this does combine very nicely with the compensator. We then combine this with the magazine. This is a new attachment as well. The 35 round speed mag basically just gives us a faster reload speed and a larger magazine than default. But we don't actually lose any aim down sight speed here like we would normally, which is actually very, very strong. Because we don't lose any aim down sight speed, we actually don't need to take a handle attachment because our aim down sight speed by default is, I think it's 250, 300 milliseconds, so that's not too big of a deal. That is fast enough to get by in most situations. And for that sprint to fire speed, basically we do end up taking the Raider pad here for sprint to fire speed, and aim walking movement speed is really, really nice for assault rifles. You can switch this out, as I said, for of course a handle attachment if you do prefer that. I just like the extra sprint to fire speed as well for this particular weapon. Next, we do have one of my favorite weapons in this game, which is the AK-47, and now this is still one of the best assault rifles in the game. In the Season 6 patch, which is going to see some nerfs, of course, to the EM2 assault rifle, I feel like the AK-47 is going to be one of the best guns in the game again. Basically, the attachments again start off with the suppressor here for that muzzle flash concealment, meaning we do not appear on the radar when we are firing. This thing is a great boost for this. You do lose some effective damage range and bullet velocity with the suppressor, but we make up for that with the VDV reinforced barrel for 100% increase to our effective damage range here, as well as 40% bullet velocity. And those numbers are actually ridiculous here, with 70 meters of damage range and 926 meters per second of bullet velocity is absolutely fantastic for hit detection. Moving on here for the underbarrel, we take the foregrip again, just a standard no negative option here. Just 15% increase to our horizontal recoil control is a very, very nice boost here to, as I said, keep us on target here. Then of course the handle, you do take the serpent wrap for 25% increase to our aim down sight speed, as we do want to get those sights up nice and quickly. And then of course we round this off with, as I said, normally the KGB skeletal stock for sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed. Next on our list here is an absolutely no recoil demon, and that does reflect in our attachments. Here is the Krig 6. This is the red torpedo variant, which I think actually looks very, very cool. You see the fin tail like submarine looking thing. That is really, really cool. So again, the attachments start off with the microflex LED because I really don't like the iron sights on the Krig 6. They're just not something that I prefer. They're not too bad, but again, not something that I prefer. Then we move to the barrel again. That Ranger barrel does give us a 126% increase to our bullet velocity, taking our number to 1553 meters per second, which I believe might actually get overtaken by the Grav, depending on what, like, it did say that the Grav was going to have one of the highest bullet velocity stats in class, so we'll have to wait and see for that. Then we move to the magazine, basically just giving us 40 rounds here, just enough to get us on target again. As I said, this is a really, really low recoil weapon as it is, so you don't really need a muzzle and you don't really need an underbarrel, but if you do struggle with the recoil on this thing, you can take an underbarrel or a muzzle if you do prefer. Then the handle, just serpent wrap, because as I said, we aren't reducing our aim down sight speed with the magazine attachment, so this is a nice boost as well, just to get that sights up nice and quickly. And then the stock as well, Raider stock again, sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed to round this out here. Then we do have the weapon that I don't really give a lot of time to, is mostly the QB-Z83. This is not a highly level weapon, but with some of the variants, you can actually get some decent attachments on this thing. Taking a look here, we do have again the infantry compensator, basically just helping keep us on target here. Vertical recoil control, really important for weapons like this, but again, you can switch this out for something like a suppressor if you do prefer that, because there's not a lot of recoil with this thing as it is. Then the barrel, again, just that Ranger barrel. You can take a reinforced heavy barrel, but I don't really think you need 90 meters of damage range with this thing, so more bullet velocity is always preferable here. Then of course the underbarrel, again, just a standard foregrip here to just help keep us on target with that horizontal recoil control increase of 15%. Then the handle, again, that serpent grip over the airborne elastic wrap, just because we aren't reducing our aim down sight speed with a magazine attachment. And then again, the Raider stock to round this off. We see the little shark fin here, again, is very, very cool addition to this gun. sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed bonuses. Then we do have one of my favorite newer weapons in the game at the moment, which is the FFAR one, which did receive a pretty significant buff in one of the last patches. Again, it just received pretty significant buffs across the board, and I cannot go out of my way to talk about all of them because there's actually quite a few. Basically, it just hits harder up close, does 30 damage per bullet, has a TTK of 264 milliseconds at the right ranges, which is about 10-15 meters or so. The attachments with this thing, of course, start off with that agency suppressor, which is a little different for giving us that muzzle flash concealment, as well as 7% vertical recoil control is really nice to help keep us on target here. Then the barrel, we're again taking the Ranger barrel just to give us 1100 meters of bullet velocity, which is again really nice for help keeping those bullets on target, as well as that heat detection is very important for a weapon like this. Then the underbarrel, again, we are actually taking the field agent grip here because we can miss our shots with this thing. It is a little bouncy in terms of that recoil, but it's not too bad with the combination of attachments that we do have here. Then the magazine, we're actually taking 38 rounds because we do actually need more bullets with this thing because it does have a relatively high fire rate. You can take a speed mag, but we're actually not running a handle attachment, so we don't want to reduce our aim down sight speed here. And then we round this off with the Raider stock for sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed. This is just a clean weapon in the game at the moment. I really do think this is one of the faster and better killing assault rifles going around right now. It's just a little hard to control sometimes, so it does need a little bit of practice. Next, we do have another weapon that did receive some pretty significant buffs in, of course, the Season 5 patch, which is the Groza. Now, this is actually a really interesting weapon in the game. I love the iron sights in this thing. I think they're super clean. And some of the attachments are really significant here, which we'll talk about in a second. Starting us off here, we do have that Spetsnaz compensator here, but again, you can take a suppressor if you do want that silence. Like, you do really increase the longevity of your life when you do run a suppressor because good players hunt down people who fire unsuppressed weapons in this game, so just keep this in mind here. Then the barrel, we're actually just taking a Groza composite here for the effective damage range increase of 25% as well as 25% bullet velocity. Now, we get no negatives here, and you can compare this to VDV Reinforced Barrel, which does give you better stats, but you also lose a little bit of sprinting movement speed and aim walking movement speed, which with this thing is not ideal here. So we're going with just the Groza composite just for positive stats here. Then we do have the underbarrel here. This is a standard foregrip here, just for 15% increase to our horizontal recoil control. We don't really want to be reducing our sort of movement speed stats with the speed grip, so just keep this in mind here. Then the handle, we are actually taking again the Serpent Wrap for 25% increase to our aim down sight speed. And then again, we round this off with the KGB pad, which actually does offer slightly different stats here. We get 50% increase to our sprint to fire speed, which is actually ridiculous for sort of sprint to fire speed increases. A super large boost, as well as 40% aim walking movement speed here, which is again a really nice boost to get us around the map a little bit quickly. Then we do have one of my favorite weapons again. The Fara 83 does feature a 300 millisecond time to kill out to about 50 meters or so, 50-60 meters depending on your attachments. This is very similar to something like the AK-47, but we'll talk about it here. The muzzle, again, that suppressor, basically just to keep us off the radar here. Firing unsuppressed weapons in this game is a surefire way to get you killed unless you are sprinting around everywhere. Then the barrel, again, that Liberator barrel does give us almost 1400 meters per second in terms of that bullet velocity, which is absolutely fantastic for heat detection. One of the best attachments for this gun. Then the magazine, we're not taking an underbarrel or anything here because this thing doesn't really have too much recoil as it is. And we are taking a 40 round speed mag here just so we have more bullets and a faster reload speed. Then, because we are taking a magazine attachment, as I said, we do take the Groza Elastic Wrap here to give us 30% aim down sight speed increase, which is just a nice boost to get us that stat of 292 milliseconds, which is just below 300, which is a nice little boost. And then the stock, we do have that KGB skeletal stock again for that sprint to fire speed increase of 30%, as well as that 40% aim walking movement speed, getting us around the map more quickly. Then we do have a weapon that I literally haven't thought about for probably ever. Like, literally since it came out, I've not thought about the C58, but I think it is getting some buffs in the next patch. So the Season 6 patch, maybe keep an eye out on the C58, but at the moment, it's not the best weapon going around. You even got a sad face on the stock here. So that's how you can tell how the gun is performing at the moment. Basically, we do have a infantry compensator here again for recoil control for that vertical variety. You can take a suppressor, you can take a SOCOM illuminator, it doesn't really matter too much. Basically, you just want help with that recoil. Then the barrel, again, that Ranger barrel for the most amount of bullet velocity here. Again, you want those bullets hitting the target as hard and as fast as possible, and almost 1500 meters per second of bullet velocity is a great stat. Then, of course, the underbarrel here, just for that recoil control of the horizontal variety increase of 12%. You can take a speed grip if you want to sprint around the map more quickly, but this is up to you. Then the handle, again, we have that Serpent Wrap for 25% increase to our aim down sight speed, gives us a value of 225 milliseconds, which is a nice boost to get us on target. And then we round this off with a 35 round drum mag because I believe this has 20 rounds in the mag by default, which is just simply put not enough. But again, the C58 is not a weapon that I've thought about for a long time. We might have to revisit this and take another look when this does get buffed, hopefully in the Season 6 patch, so just keep an eye out on the C58. And then, of course, we round this off with probably the best weapon in the game at the moment in terms of that EM2. Basically, this does have a 240 millisecond time to kill, a 3-shot kill, no recoil on this thing. It's just easily the best gun in the game at the moment. It's too strong, and hopefully it does get brought back into line a little bit more with the Season 6 patch, as we are expecting some balance changes for this thing. Starting us off here, we do have that suppressor here because we don't want to appear on the radar when we are firing this thing. We do not need a recoil control attachment because this thing doesn't bounce around enough as it is. So the suppressor is a perfect attachment here. We continue our stuff with the task force barrel. Basically, this does allow us to get that 3-shot kill, increasing our damage by 6%. Does give us 51 damage actually per bullet, which is a nice increase, and a decent amount of damage range, as well as nice bullet velocity. Then we continue on with the underbarrel here, just for a nice boost to our recoil. The vertical and the horizontal recoil on this thing are not significant as it is, but we just want a little bit of assistance here. Then we've got the magazine. We do have the 40-round mag, but a 30-round mag or a 25-round speed mag. These are all good options. Basically, you just want more bullets to fire with this thing. And then we round this off, of course, with the airborne elastic wrap, as we are reducing our aim down sight speed with our magazine attachment. And that is, of course, all the current assault rifles in the Season 5 Reloaded update. We, as I said, are expecting a new assault rifle in the Grav in the Season 6 patch, which I believe is just a Galil, which is super, super cool. I'm looking very much forward to that. So again, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on if you do want to stay up to date with all the Season 6 content, which there's going to be so much. We've got class setups, we're going to have map guides, we're going to have all this content on the channel. And moving into Vanguard, again, make sure you stick around for that. But again, thank you very much for watching this one. I do massively appreciate it, of course. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!